welcome to heading 180. It's a hot day in Pennsylvania here. We're going to show you what a pre-flight is like on the PA-28-180, the Cherokee 180. All right, so first things first, we're going to get in the aircraft here.
Hey aviators, before we get started with the pre-flight, we've got to check that POH. As you can see here, for the 1964 PA-28-180, there's only about a page and a half of items we need to check for the pre-flight. For the majority of the items, it's pretty much just walk around the aircraft, check some things, make sure everything looks right. I like to start out my pre-flight about 20 to 30 feet away from the plane in the front and just take a look at the plane. Does anything look wrong? Does anything look out of place? Also, take a look at those common sense items. Has there been any recent maintenance? Are there any known issues with your aircraft? Are there any modifications, different avionics, or other systems you need to check before you get going? All right, let's get back to it. We're in the aircraft. We're going to go ahead and turn the master switch on and make sure our beacon, our nav, our strobes, and our landing light are on at this point. The other thing we're going to do is put our pitot heat on. We're going to check, make sure the tail beacon works. Make sure our red light works. We're going to make sure our pitot heat comes on. Check our landing light. All right, make sure everything comes up here on the Garmin and we have good fuel. We're gonna go down here and we're gonna put our flaps in. All right, we're gonna check the flaps. Give them a good pull. Make sure they look good, make sure all the connections are in tight. We're gonna go to the ailerons. We're gonna check this on both sides, make sure when we move the ailerons, the yoke moves. When we go up, the yoke should move towards us. Make sure we have full deflection and make sure all of our pins in the joints are in place. Come around to the oil. Usually this runs right at about 6 or a little more than 6 quarts of oil. Let's look at the propeller, make sure there's no nicks or scratches. Take off the cowling plugs. Inside here, we're going to check, make sure there's tension on the alternator belt and that everything looks good and feels good there. Also want to check the air intake, make sure no bird's nests or anything like that. It looks clean in there. And then same thing with this wing, looking at the aileron. And the flap. And now to the rear of the aircraft. Make sure we have full deflection. On the elevator, or stabilator in this case. You can see the anti-servo tab is working correctly. And we want to look at the rudder, make sure everything looks good on the rudder. Underneath each of the wings here, we have where we sump the fuel on our drain. Take a good sample of fuel from each wing. We want to look at that and make sure there's no contaminants or water in there. If there are any contaminants or water, they'll sink to the bottom. We'll be able to see them. I want to check into the tank and we'll pour the fuel that we sumped back into the tank. And also the gascolator, where the gascolator is. And actually in this aircraft, I have a Stevens aircraft gascolator, which is a really nice upgrade. I want to look at the brakes and the tires, make sure the inflation looks good, and make sure there's no leaks on the brake calipers. And make sure we have the appropriate length on each of the 2 main gear struts and on the front nose wheel strut. Want to check the operation of the stall warning, which in this case is a red light
on the inside of the cockpit. And this here is for next time. We're going to be able to install some new Blackbird Aero Classic tires from VSE Aviation. Just got these in. We'll talk about the price and what's included with that purchase.